Ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Hello!
Hi!
Welcome to the first ever Spill the Booch! We got Booch!
Better Booch.
Better Booch because it's the best Booch. What flavor are you drinking today, Haley?
Ginger. Boost. Ginger, lemongrass, and mint. What's yours?
Oh, thanks for asking. I'm drinking a Morning Glory, which is peach and black tea. Well,
We should have probably opened these before.
nope. Well,
It's actually really good.
yeah, this is better than I ever expected it could be. Mine's like a really good like peach Snapple,
Yeah, it
Kind of
tastes like
flavor.
Snapple. How much sugar is in this?
but like
5 grams.
5 grams.
That's not a lot.
Well, technically 10,
Well, 10, because there's 2 servings per container.
but still 10 is for the whole can.
So if you guys want and you live in LA, it's a local brand. We know not much about them right now. We probably have done some research.
Better Booch, we hope to be getting to know you good.
Yeah, they got Whole Foods.
Yeah, and they're delicious.
It's really good. It tastes like Snapple.
But like better, like not sweet Snapple, like delicious Snapple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good. I'm glad we chose that. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that was so good. Go us!
Yeah. So today we're talking about the story of how we met. Since it is the first Spill the Booch, we figured that you should probably know a little bit about who's actually talking.
About our friendship, to be clear, because I
Yeah.
feel like that sounds like we're dating. Like I feel like
Oh,
that's
we're
how
friends.
That's like
We're not dating.
It's like Q&A time with my boyfriend. This
How
is,
we met?
this is just my friend.
Yeah, we're friends.
We have different bedrooms. We live together in different bedrooms.
Yes, we have roommates too. For those of you, because we did not mention that, but we
No.
are roommates too.
We are roommates.
It's a new thing.
This is our couch. This is
our
our house. Yeah.
There's stuff in here. Our stuff. Anyway,
I'm really sick too. This is not my normal voice, and I'm not a smoker. So
nope.
just had the plague.
Like,
Yes, the plague.
so we wanted to start out by just having a little bit of a background on how we met, how we became friends, and just let you guys know a little bit more about us. So, do you want to start?
You always have me start. So before we were born, we were just a thought in our parents' head. No, I think it's really funny because both of our moms are named Joe.
They are.
And my family used to vacation right next to your grandparents' beach house. So
In Cape Cod.
in Cape Cod. And we were born 5 days apart in age.
Mhm.
So our moms were like super pregnant on the beach at the same time. And I think they like kind of were like, hey, that lady's pregnant and I'm pregnant, so like we should be pregnant together.
And they were.
And they were. And then they had babies. Like
We were the babies.
we were the babies. Like, ta-da! And I don't think that they really talked to Tom before that.
No, actually, my mom told me a story about when she was breastfeeding by the cottage. It was September, and so it was pretty empty because it was like mid-September, so it was fall. But she remembers like looking down to the beach, and your mom was breastfeeding you, and she said that it was really weird because she felt like there was like a really intense energy, and that she was gonna like know your mom somehow. But she
Never knew
said
that story.
that there was like a really intense energy. She's like, I feel like these girls know each other, and it's really weird. And like your mom looked at my mom and kind of gave her like this is gonna be interesting look, and then it got interesting.
Love to speak. So anyways, 5 years go by and we're spending summers on the same beach, but we're infants, so we're not talking human language to each other. And I had 2 older brothers, and they had decided to catch a crab for me. What more could a girl want than a crab in a bucket? And I feel like the story goes that we're 5 years old.
I thought we might have been even
But
younger.
we might have been younger. I don't know. We were both like big kids too. So like,
Yeah.
there's a picture, and
I've never seen this picture.
Yes, you have.
I don't. It's at your house.
Yeah, it's in the bathroom at my house. You've seen it.
Oh, that's us.
That's not just 2 kids.
I didn't know.
Old pictures in my house of my family.
Okay.
So my brother's pitched this crab, and I'm like looking at it, probably pretty scared because crabs and buckets.
You don't like crabs.
I don't like crabs. I don't like sharks, and I don't like snakes, and I don't like spiders, and a lot of other things. And so Haley, being the curious creature she is, comes over and looks in my bucket.
I did.
And then the story just goes that every summer we played together.
Yeah.
And just hung out, and we're both the only girls in our family. I have 2 older brothers.
I have 2 younger brothers.
But we just would spend summers together our entire life. And so we became summer sisters.
We did, and that's how we came up with the name that we have. But one thing even that we really want to talk about is we actually didn't live close other than the summer. So
yeah,
you lived in Massachusetts, I lived in Connecticut, and we didn't really talk because when this was all going on, we were really little. They didn't have like cell phones. AIM didn't come out until we were like 13 years old.
Yeah.
And so it was literally when you would come to the Cape was when I got to see her.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, I'll have Dakota to play with. And we can like, we used to play like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
We love Harry Potter.
And we played Polly Pocket.
The little like doll things.
and you had the Polly Pocket board game.
Yeah, we had a Polly Pocket. We loved that game.
I was obsessed. And we used to go mini golfing, and we to go to Arnold's and the Red Barn.
Red Barn, play mini golf.
Oh, so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really, that was how our friendship began.
Yeah.
And then over time, when different ways of communication, cell phones and AIM and stuff became, we continued to talk that way. And then as things kind of kept going, you like came to my graduation and I came to yours, and you came and visited me at college, and I came and visited you at college, and then like you came to my mom's funeral in Rake, and like by that point we were just like really good friends considering how
we live so far.
Minimal we talked.
Yeah.
You know, like,
well, it was just like every couple of months it was just like just checking to make sure like you're good. And then
yeah, or it's just like, hey, this thing happened and I'm gonna tell you everything about this
Yeah.
huge thing, because like I know like we both went through like bad relationships, and we both went through like bullying and stuff at school, and like we would just message the other person because like they were so far away and so removed from the situation that it was just
Yeah.
someone who was unbiasedly there on your side, because they had like no attachment to the outcome of the situation, I guess.
Yeah.
But it is funny because like I've always considered Haley my sister, and I've always considered her like one of my best friends through life, and we will go long periods without talking.
Yeah, I mean not so much anymore, but we definitely used to.
We live together.
Now we can't.
It's a little awkward if I don't talk to her. She thinks I'm angry.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I think it was definitely what I think was good for us too at the same time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the things that we went through, the bad relationships and just certain situations, they happen simultanemously at the same time. And so sometimes it almost was, I think, hard to talk about things because we were still trying to comprehend it themselves, because I know I didn't talk about it with anyone.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't even just like Dakota, it was just I wasn't talking to anybody. And then kind of when it was time to come out and like talk about things and stuff like that, we would have those conversations. But it definitely happened after the fact, and it definitely brought us closer because we could communicate and relate on so many different levels.
And I feel like we always like, you were always like my sounding board. Like I remember like whenever I was like, like maybe what's happening isn't working. Like I remember like the moment I realized in high school I was in an abusive relationship. I was in health class and they showed the video of abusive relationships, and I was like, wait, that's my relationship. Is something wrong with this situation? And I remember like texting you and being like, hey, I think I might be in an abusive relationship. And you're like, yeah, you are. Like, he's kind of an asshole. And I was like, okay, cool. Okay, we know. You know, like.
And then I did the same thing because I also was in one. And I texted you and I was like, I think so-and-so and I broke up or we're going to break up. And your response was just, good, I hate him.
Yes, exactly. I remember writing that. It was not
I was just like, I like looked down my lap. I was like, that's exactly what I needed to hear.
And we've always had that pact to, like, we love our families and we're close to them in our own special way, as many families are close to them in their own special way. But like, I've always joked that I'm like, if I am like getting engaged to a guy and Haley doesn't approve of him, like it's just a no. Like,
sorry,
she knows me better sometimes than I know myself.
Dakota's future husband.
Dear future husband.
PSA.
Ask
it
this
goes
one.
both ways, by the way.
Ask this one for permission. Not my dad. Do ask my dad. He'd be so sad if he didn't.
Yeah, we liked it.
He's a great guy. He just sent me a climate t-shirt, like, stay cool, stay, go green while it's still cool. He was so proud of it. It's so sweet.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. You know what? You can be 65 and just start following your passions. And
You can.
It's always the time.
Yeah, exactly. And so kind of how we went and we like kept this relationship going, which has been great. And a lot of people kind of ask us, how did you guys stay friends for so long? And I think about that a lot because sometimes then my answer is just like, I don't know. To be completely honest, we just did. But I think with us, it just comes back to the fact that like there's a level of commitment, but also like we're also very honest with each other.
So honest.
And very blunt.
I'm just super blunt in general, but still blunt when it comes to telling you the truth.
Yeah.
And I think too, we've talked about this on your podcast, and I feel like it's such a big topic that we'll always be talking about it, is that from a young age, because our friendship has started at a young age, and I think this can happen at any age, but it's just easier because we started so young together, is that it's just unconditional love. It's like, you've seen me through my blonde stages and my fat stages.
I don't remember the blonde.
And when I had a list,
have blocked it out.
And when I really couldn't say my ahs, you know, and like, you have seen every aspect of me and have still chosen to love me. And that just now makes it in our friendship that it's like, great, I know I can tell you anything and it's not gonna make you withhold your love for me. And I think that's a vice versa kind of situation, which is really what I feel all women are looking for in friendships. We just don't know how to because we've been hurt or we've been rejected and we're like, oh my God, like they're gonna hurt me.
Or just like, even at the basis of it, I think just communication for a lot of people is something that everyone just struggles with. And there's always something that's coming new about communication and different ways to communicate and new ways to communicate. And I know I was talking to someone and they were talking more about romantic relationships, but they were saying the old way of communication doesn't work anymore. And it's like, okay, well, what's the old way?
Yeah, that's my first question. I was like,
has anyone figured it out? Like, I studied it.
I don't even, like, is that not communicating?
Yeah,
Is that the old way?
So I think too, it's just we figured out a way of communicating that works for us, but then it's different than the way I communicate with my family and my other friends. So I don't even think that communication is necessarily a one-size-fits-all type of thing, because you can't approach a certain person the same way you would approach somebody else.
Yes, absolutely. I agree, because I feel like we all have different love languages and we all have different trigger words and we all have different just like essence, and when that comes together in a friendship, it changes. Like, I know in a romantic relationship, it's going to be so different than how our relationship is, but I'm going to show up with the same tools that are in the toolkit, you know, of like having those hard conversations in the beginning of like, hey, you know, like, show me you're ugly so that I know how to respect that and say that. And also show me you're ugly so I can still love it, you know, like, unless you killed someone. But then, like, could I help bury the body?
She does have a plan.
I've listened to a
Probably
few
shouldn't say that on the internet.
murder mysteries, and I just I think it's interesting.
It's oddly good, and I'm terrified.
I could never kill somebody because, just to put that out there, blood, and then like bones, like I'm gonna have to. Oh my god, cut the bones, and then like the insides, and like it's gonna smell, and there's gonna be so much moisture, and just like weird substances that are in the body, and I'm like, so you go the tissue? No. Oh god, no! I could never murder someone.
By the way, we're both intuitive. Backstory about us.
They are both very intuitive. Good segue from murder to intuition. Just to be clear, we are psychic and not psycho.
Very distinct differentiation.
Pronounced similarly, but very different.
Yeah, and we were actually going back to communication. We were talking about this yesterday, how our styles and how we even go about things is a little different. And
yeah,
for me, I was thinking about this today and how I approach just the community of talk, but also the way I approach feelings. And I approach it from such an analytical standpoint, which I didn't even realize until pretty recently. And then with you, that's not necessarily how you approach it. And I think also if you're looking into having a friendship that's deep and honest, you have to also understand the difference between how the two of you communicate.
Yeah.
Because like how has that affected the way you communicated?
Well, I just think about it in the way too that like oftentimes I'm a very blunt person. Like not even like trying to be a dick, if I'm being honest. Like just like I'm to the point, like what's the point of all the fluff? Like, let's just say it. And that if you don't know me about that or know that it's not personal, it's just factual, like that's how I work. Like I'm like, hey, this is factual, that people can take it really personally and then think that I'm like being mean or aggressive or bullying, when it's like, no, I'm just being factual. Like you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Why not? You know, and I think like that's part of like something that I'm learning in myself is like, I have to either be able to portray that to people in a loving way of just like, hey, I'm really factual, or I have to tone it down so that I'm not turning people off before there's even a chance for us to be friends.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense, because I think that sometimes like there is a fine line, but when you explain that to people, I think they get it. But then other people too, they like blunt, and sometimes
like me and my boss get along so well because he is the exact same way as me. So we don't have to worry about each other's feelings because nothing he's saying to me is personal and nothing I'm saying to him is personal. We're just like, here are the facts. There are the facts. They're not lying.
Yeah.
You know, as like I have other coworkers who I have to tiptoe or be very conscious before I speak because they'll take it personally, and then I'll be like, and then I have to go down that rabbit hole of like, oh my god, I said that thing, and like now they think I'm mean, or I'm like, oh, and I was attacking them. It's like I was just factually stating that like it was a fact in my mind that, and like I also am like, these are my facts. Try them on, don't try them on. It doesn't offend me. Like this is just my belief. Like question it, then I'll question it, then it will grow. You know, like. But I think like that's like just an exploration that I feel like a lot of people should explore with other people, is kind of finding like allowing this story of like, what is this person's story? You know, like, I wonder why they talk that way, or like I wonder why that's their word choice, or I wonder why that offends them. Like instead of just like being like, nope, like questioning like, I wonder why that like comedy or laughter or like being a dick is their like, you know, defense mechanism, or like their go-to thing when they feel uncomfortable, and like giving them the space to like actually get to know them. Because like at the end of the day, 99.999% of the world is like really amazing people, but we just like have our dukes up.
And I think everyone too is just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
When it comes to communication, like no one is perfect, and everyone is trying to even discover how they communicate and what works for them. And sometimes certain people, like, I know with me, I'm too much trying to see all sides of the situation that I have a problem sometimes even picking a side, because I'm just like, well, I see both, so I don't, like, am I supposed to be on a side? And then I kind of have to be, and I'm just like, but I don't want to be. But that's something that, like, I run into too, and sometimes I'm not super as, like, emotional as a, like, because I am looking at my emotions from such an analytical standpoint of, like, why am I feeling this? How can I, it's like A, B, C, and then how can I, like, rectify it? But that's a very inward journey, and I'm someone who necessarily, like, I don't really talk about how I'm feeling because it is so inward.
Yeah, as I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm, like, super expressive. I'm like, guys, I had a thought. Let me tell the whole universe about this one thought I had. What is everyone's thoughts on my thought?
Yeah, and I don't even think that that's necessarily, like, a great quality of mine, but
I think both, though,
yeah,
can be honed the opposite way, right? Like, a neutral place is better, because sometimes it's like, am I asking everyone for permission, as it's like, hey, like, what's going on in there?
Yeah.
You gotta, like, give you a little update.
I think that,
a boosh, are you feeling?
I think that, like, with me, it's almost like this feeling of, like, I know I can do it, so, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
But it's like,
but then that makes a lonely life.
When you're and if you want to have like a really close relationship and a really close bond with someone, it just becomes word vomit of the other person, and then maybe, like, you have, like, resentment towards them because you're just like, do I have even feelings?
Yeah, or, like, that person has all the feelings, there's no room for my feelings, and it's like, well, you never told me you, like, do you have them?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just filling the space with mine.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people who are like that too, and, like, it's because they can get through it on their own, and so they're just like, well, what's the point if I can work through it? And I know that's how I've always looked at it. It's just, I know I'm gonna be fine, and, like, I get there, so it's like, to me, like, so I get it from those people's point of view, but at the same time, if you want to have, like, that deep, meaningful connection with anyone, you have to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's just a part of it.
And I mean, like, life is measured by the number of hard conversations you're willing to have.
Yeah.
Who says that? Thank you, whoever said that.
Chris Harder?
No, he didn't.
No.
He said that to me a lot of times, but it's somebody. They have a book and they're.
Is it Tim Ferriss?
It might be Tim Ferriss.
It's Tim Ferriss. Shout out to Tim.
Tim, if that's you, thank you. To the person who it might be, if it's not Tim,
our bad.
Thank you too. Thank you for putting those words in my noggin. But I just think that's so true. Is like, the more hard conversations I have, the more like, hey, this thing that you did really annoyed me, or like, hey, I feel like I've upset you in some way. How can we work on this together to grow and create a better environment? Or, hey, whatever the thing is that I have to say, like, the more times I step up and have those conversations, really the happier and better my life is, because I now know where the people I love stand on things, and the people I love know where I stand, and we now know how to support each other. Like, that's my favorite question that I've started asking people is, how can I support you? And I remember, like, the first time I asked you, you were like, no one's ever asked me that before. I was like, great. So, like, do you need a lollipop? Like, let's start at the bare minimum. Like, do you want a pat on the back? Like, you know, like, I don't have to, like, support you and, like, do something major for you today, but, like, what's a little thing I can do to, like, make you know how much I love and appreciate you? And, like, that's really what it is just communication is learning how to let people know when you're not feeling loved and appreciated, and how to love and appreciate the people you love and appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. You just gotta tell people that you care.
Yeah. Literally.
That's most of it.
My favorite quote that my mentor, Karen Kenny, always says is, people, which I think it actually comes from A Course in Miracles, but she said it to me so many times, is that people are either giving love or crying out for love. Like, everything is done from an act of love or an act of crying out for love. And I'm like, it's just so true. Like, when I see people do something mean to me or cut me off or yell at me or something, I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, they need more love today. Like, how can I give them the love? Is that letting them cut in front of me because maybe they're going to see their really sick kid in the hospital or their mom's about to die or something? Like, always having that thing of like, this person needs love. Like, how can I? And making sure I'm at a high enough level of love for myself and love within that I'm giving them love from my saucer, giving them love from my overflow, but also just giving love to the world.
Yeah, and I think that's a really beautiful way to put it, because everything is just based in love, because we are love. And so that is how everything is going to be approached. And I think it's true though, because if someone is feeling a lack of love in their life, they're going to act out, because at the end of the day, that's what we all want and that's what we all crave.
Yeah.
And so if they feel like that's not coming to them, or if it's
withheld or rejected,
or that they just don't have that feeling of love towards themselves, then that's like, I think the biggest cry of love, that's when we see the most, I think, anger or outbursts happen from people, is when they don't have that within and they're struggling within, but they don't know how to ask.
Yeah, they've forgotten, or they were never taught. Like, we're not taught this in high school. We're not taught this in junior high. We're not like, hi, like, I'm feeling some feelings and I could really use like a little extra love today.
Yeah.
Somebody have me.
That's a good note to end on.
That's a great, so go give love to someone. And if you need love, ask for love in a tangible way that someone can give it to you. Don't be a weirdo about it. Just be like, hey, I could really use a hug today. If you're a physical touch person and you haven't been hugged in a while. It sounds really creepy when I say it like that, but I am such a physical touch people person thing. I have love. Yep. Great. Anywho, that's it for us. So we
go buy better Booch.
Go buy better Booch. We just spilt the Booch on how we met.
It's really good. Yeah. We did that.
We spilled that Booch.
If you guys have any questions for us,
feel free to comment below
and subscribe.
We
don't know where that's gonna be. We'll figure that out.
And comment below if there's other things that you want to know about us or other topics you want us to talk about in Spill the Booch, because we're gonna do this twice a month, and we're gonna just talk about topics that have to do with life and friendships and getting to know us and big overlying questions of the world. Yeah,
and hopefully she'll feel better.
And maybe one day I'll be healthier again. So go get yourself some better Booch and watch the next episode of Spill the Booch with us with your can of Booch.
Bye!